Alright, so I've been thinking about Pokemon a lot lately, and I guess I'm going to do a Pokemon video. And it's pretty much probably mostly just going to be a rant. Um, here we go. So, Gen 1, I think, really screwed over all the gens. Because I really like different kind of Pokemon, and I think there's a precedence for like I like different types, but I think there's a precedence for like things like in Gen 1, you've got look at the fire types. You got Rapidash, Arcanine, Ninetales, Magmar. Is that all the pure fire? I don't know, from Flareon. They're all pure fire, and they've got like slightly different stats, slightly different move pools. Not that different though, ultimately. Like it would be cool if they had like more major, like bigger differences. Flareon has really high attack. Um, Magmar gets like a few different moves that the others don't get. Stuff like that. But ultimately, what that ended up happening is that like one is just like clearly better than the others, and the others just aren't that great. Like that's kind of just typically what happens in Gen 1 is you'll sit and go, oh, here's all the electric types. Like, well, which one of these is any good? It's like, well, Jolteon's really fast and has a really good move pool. So Jolteon's like the best one. And it just kind of goes down the line like that, where like there just is one that's better because they're not diverse enough, and they didn't really think about the competitive scene in Gen 1. Like it really was just like a single player RPG that you could capture your enemies and like use them. There's all these other like little gimmicks like Eevee, Jolteon, Flareon, Vaporeon. Like that's neat. Being gifted Pokemon versus like finding them in the wild, which I thought was a neat concept. But like there's so much redundancy in like typing and even stats. Like even when it comes to that stuff, like they aren't that different, but like and it'll be just like a little bit of like, oh well, that one's just sort of better. Like you should use your favorites. I believe in all that. Like whichever one is your favorite one. Like in game doesn't matter, but also in game like it so doesn't matter. It's like, well, do you like the birds? Like and there's so many normal flying birds like Pidgeot, Dodrio, Fearow, Farfetch'd. Like it's just like what they do kind of like created this norm where it's like, I wish they didn't do that. And I think it was on purpose. Like I don't think it was an accident where they're like, we should have diverse typing. Like there should be all these different type combos. Like no, like we should just have a few type combos. That's why it's just Onyx, Golem, Rhydon, like rock ground, like all. Like it's like okay. Like how come there's not other combos of like rock and ground? Like there's so few rock. Rock water, rock flying, Aerodactyl, which is great. Like I love like some of my favorite Pokemon in Gen 1 are the like unique type combos. Like Aerodactyl is one of my favorite ones. Poliwrath, another one of my favorites. Didn't have different typing at the time, but like Magnemite, Magneton, love it. And this time it's like I like it has nothing to do with that, but still like Venusaur is grass poison. Like they had to just three of them like Victreebel, Vileplume, just doesn't feel good that it just I guess like a cheap way to diversify a Pokemon by making it a different type, but that's kind of the big thing about them is their typing, and so Gen 1 just doesn't have a lot of diversity. So then when you get to Gen 2, Gen 2 also doesn't have a lot of diversity. I think trying to carry over those traditions, which makes it more boring. Like I have certain animals I like a lot of animals, and it was really frustrating because I was, for a time, was really into manta rays, and then Gen 2 comes along and you get Mantine, and it's a pretty hefty special sponge, cool, right? I do like that. I do like high SPDEF, special defense, Pokemon, or just in general in games, like being able to resist that stuff. And oh, my camera's like, you got 5 minutes. Wrap up this rant in 5 minutes. All right, we'll see. But yeah, the fact that Mantine was water flying, I'm like, you could have made it any other type combo, and I would have been happy. Like, I guess water ground would have frustrated me because it's times 4 weak to electric, times 4 weak. I wouldn't have wanted it times 4 weak to grass. Wouldn't have really wanted it to be water ground, but any other, I wish it were water ghost, would have been great. Pure water also would have been fine. But I think they're just like, we need a water flying because there was a water flying in Gen 1. Like, we're going to have to kind of mimic the things that Gen 1 did. That's how we're going to build and make Gen 2. I think they should have changed more typing. There could have been more steel types and more dark types that came from Gen 1. Muck, its Alolan form became Poison Dark. I think Muck should have just been Poison Dark. Furo could have been Dark Flying, I guess. I mean, I know they had Murkrow, but like Murkrow also, they didn't go like all in on some of these newer ones to like give them stats. Could have beefed some of their stats up. Like Sudowoodo is supposed to be like the Snorlax of Gen 2, but its stats nowhere near. Like, they could have given it like 30 more base defense and it wouldn't have hurt nothing. There's no way I'm wrapping this up in the amount of time that my camera's gonna die. I should just go until it stops. But copying even the starters, it's like that's what we do is fire, grass, water. At least they made them all pure in Gen 2. I'll give them that. Would have been cool if they found like another type thing to do. Would have been fine with me to just do Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur again. Like, I still think that's the strongest starter like collection of any Pokemon gen. Like, none has been as solid and as good as those three. But they just repeat so much. Like, another bug poison, another bug flying. Like, they don't explore things. Had a chance to make either bug or ghost resist psychic as well. I should just stop. I should stop. I already need to make like a part 2 to this, as I'm just sitting. Mostly Mantine is what I wanted to talk about, where it's like, I really wish it wasn't water flying. I wish it wasn't times 4 to electric, because its counterpart is kind of Skarmory, which has like high defense, but it's only weak to like electric and fire. So it's like, why couldn't Mantine just be weak to like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you make it weak to physical stuff with water. It didn't have to be water type, I guess, is another thing. They could have just made it like ghost type. It just is in the water. Like, ghost is weak to what? Ghost, dark. So that's fine. It could have just been a ghost. I don't know. I'll think about Pokemon way more and even more. And poor Flareon, though. I've talked about Flareon before. But I like unique combos. It just took them way too long to make combos that I think that they really needed, like Bug Dark or like Bug Psychic, things that counter other things. Like, why Jump Bluff? Why? Oh, here's a unique type. They like to do special and physical. It's like grass and flying. It's like, right, but Jump Bluff was just not even like usable. But oh, is it over? Is it over? No. Oh, okay. Well, I love. Fine. Steelix is great. Steel, they made some good stuff, and it's like they made good stuff on accident, though. It's like they didn't intend to make stuff that was like really cool. It's like they meant to just make the same thing over and over with more just pure fighting or pure ground, or like, oops, we shouldn't make more dragon types. That would be weird. Wouldn't want to make a type that ice should have resisted. Okay, well, that's it, I guess. I was just going off on Pokemon. My camera's like, it's time to stop.